Okay, this video is going to be about Paul Heyman on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast. Now, Heyman's been on Stone Cold's podcast, his actual Steve Austin show, I'd say about 3 times now. There's been 2 episodes that he did, Stone Cold uploaded, and then there was one called The Lost Episodes. And in those 3 podcasts, and then on top of that, you include Paul Heyman's little documentary that was put out this past year. It was right after WrestleMania 30, I guess. You really know pretty much everything about Paul Heyman, considering those 3 podcasts, plus the DVD, plus whatever's been said about him before in books, magazines, interviews, you name it. Paul Heyman's life has really been out there for everyone to know. So for me, I'm sure there were some people who had never heard the Heyman story before who were excited. And in one way, I was excited myself, because when you have 2 guys, 2 personalities really, of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Paul Heyman, you're in for nothing but an exciting and entertaining conversation. So that's, sure, props, I give that to them. Paul Heyman is a very entertaining person to listen to. There's been times where I've been listening for like an hour and a half and it just flies by, which seems like 5 minutes, and just such compelling stories and such he's a good storyteller, and you have to give him that. And I think that's what grabs him in his promos or whatever it may be, is he knows how to put words together, he knows how to deliver them, and he knows how to make you care about what he's saying. And there's not many guys who can do that, and that's, I think, that's the pure genius of what Paul Heyman is all about, is being able to just hook you, bring you in, and just have you in the palm of his hands. And there are very few guys, I would say, in the professional wrestling business and like forever who can really do that. And just name a few. The Rock is one who's very good at that. Obviously, you have Paul Heyman. Promo guys, you want to call him that. Jake Roberts is another one. Those are 3. And then who else is the one? A very good promo person. There's a few, but I can't really think of one off the top of my head. CM Punk was one. To a degree, he knew how to put words together. But point of this video is, for me, Heyman on Stone Cold's podcast, it'll be okay. I think I heard some people were saying that Undertaker is going to be one of the future guests on that show. That would be something to look forward to, because Undertaker is not a guy who prostitutes himself around podcast to podcast, interview to interview, like like certain wrestlers have. I'm not saying Paul Heyman does that, but over the past year or so, he's been on Jericho's podcast twice. He's had his own DVD put out. He's been all over TV. He's been on Stone Cold's podcast 3 times, like I said. So just right there, you have like 8 or 9 different sources to Paul Heyman's life story. So you've heard it once, you've pretty much heard it a million times. And like I said, I'm sure it'll be a great conversation. It'll be a great interview. Heyman will probably throw things in there that you've never heard before. But I think this podcast is probably mostly going to be talking about WrestleMania next year, what Brock Lesnar's plans are, where he's gone on record and challenged Stone Cold on his own podcast to have a match with Brock Lesnar. And Stone Cold being Stone Cold just kind of blows it off. But you have that to talk about. You can talk about WrestleMania 31, the whole build-up, whole everything, really. His UFC thing. I'm sure Brock is going to be the main tie-in to a lot of these questions, because Paul Heyman's just been out there so much. I don't know what Paul Heyman's doing now, to be honest. I don't even remember the last time he was on Raw. I just remember Brock Lesnar getting suspended, and that's it. I know he's not the champion anymore, but seems weird now that I think about it. Not that I watch Raw like crazy, but Paul Heyman hasn't been on Raw in a while, and to be honest, I didn't even notice. It's kind of weird, though. And I guess they can talk about ECW. It's just a lot of these things have just been beaten to death. It's just like the Montreal Screwjob. Whenever Brett's in the COD thing, or Sean, they always bring that up. Mostly Brett, and I think Sean's kind of moved on from it. He's done more in his life and his career that doesn't always revolve around one night, maybe 3 seconds of like a referee ringing the bell and him spitting on Vince McMahon can culminate Bret Hart's career, where Shawn Michaels kind of went on even before that time and after, just done so much, where Bret Hart kind of stayed still. He really pretty much declined after leaving WWF in '97. But my favorite Paul Heyman interview was the one he did with Jericho and Edge. They were all in the same room together. Edge didn't have too much to say, but it was mostly just Heyman talking, and the stuff he was saying, Edge and Jericho didn't even know themselves, so you can really hear them pop and just be so intrigued. Even guys, his own coworkers are just so intrigued by what the guy has to say. And that shows a lot, considering, Jericho's like a former employee back in ECW. Edge, I guess, has been working with Paul Heyman since, 2000, whenever Heyman came in. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much more to say, except the Undertaker interview. I know Austin always talks about that's the most requested guest that he wants, people want. And I don't even know, you probably need, just like the Vince McMahon one was just so groundbreaking and everybody was talking about it, I can see the Undertaker one being 10 times more, because this is a guy who literally shows up, like this year, he showed up one night a year, did his match. It wasn't okay, it was whatever, it was better than last year's, but did his thing, goes home, and we don't see him for another year. And will he be at WrestleMania 32? Most likely, but just so much to ask him, the Undertaker, and yeah, I hope it happens, because for me, someone who doesn't have the network, I don't know. I had this conversation with somebody about me getting the network. Now, if I was able to get the network through my laptop, I would. $9.99. It was probably like $13 after the currency thing. $13 a month is worth it for me to get a pay-per-view every 2 weeks, without a doubt. Plus, you get these network specials. Plus, we were watching these on-demand, top 10 countdown things, which are cool. I don't see the price. For me, $13 is worth it. Plus, you get the online library. 100% $13 will be worth it. The thing with Canadian stuff, networking, is our network is what the original network was supposed to be. It was a legit channel where you go and you have to purchase it. The thing with me is nobody watches TV in this house. It's just we're not able. Well, we can. We just don't have the time to sit down and watch TV. So we don't have any cable. And to get that, you need a cable box and sign up this and that. It's just not worth it. And the fact, even if it was worth it, I wouldn't be able to do it because of the cable box. So if I could do it through my Xbox, I would, but they don't let you do that. Xbox One, Xbox 360, or PS3. Can't do it on either of those. So really, I'm kind of screwed, The pay-per-views, luckily there's always, I know it sounds bad, but there's always ways to watch those, whether it be through Twitter or just online sources. Raw, same thing. But the network thing, that's a little harder to find. And unfortunately for me, I really take the hit on that when it comes to seeing the network specials, especially the NXT things. It kind of sucks. I really wanted to watch this past one when Joe came, but I couldn't find a stream for it. So, next thing you know, Samoa Joe's coming out, and I'm sitting there like an idiot. I'm like, ugh. So, that's pretty much it. And, yeah. That's about it, pretty much. But yeah, pretty much if that was the case, I would get the network by now. But that's not the case for me, so I can't get the network. But having the Undertaker on there, if I wasn't signed up and I was kind of contemplating on it, that interview would have me signed up in a heartbeat, because that's something you can make money on. Imagine WWE putting out a documentary style with Undertaker in it, just 3-disc or 2-disc Blu-ray set. That's unprecedented, really. And yeah, that's all. I'll see you guys in the next video.